What's up everyone, welcome back to Our Lawn, and today I'm talking to you beginners and early intermediate folk out there. And what we're talking about is how you're going to go about getting a nicer lawn. And the primary thing I want to address in this video is the path that you choose to take to go from a bad yard to a nice one. And I believe the three main ways that people will go about it is just to maintain, to aerate and overseed, or to completely renovate. So let's address those three, and I want to talk you through how you want to go about making the decision of which one to choose. This probably isn't gonna work, hold on. All right, much better. So the first one that we want to talk about is just managing your yard. No additional steps needed, just fertilizing, mowing, watering. And I think a lot of people sleep on this one because it feels natural to, once you get excited about something, you want to do. I want to do everything. I want to seed and dethatch and aerate and put down all these products and maybe kill it off and do all these things. And I need to do something to make my yard look nice. But yard behind me started off looking like this. And now you can see it looks like this. It did get overseeded once when I killed, kind of half killed the yard on accident by applying the wrong rate of an herbicide. So I did seed it once, but that's it. And I did the same thing over in my side yard where it was super thin, and the same thing over at my brother-in-law's house where it's super thin. If you just fertilize and implement good mowing habits, you will be very, very surprised at how nice of a yard you will get in a fairly short period of time. So especially for beginners and people wanting to get into I just want a nice yard. I don't want the perfect yard. I don't want to, spend all this money, time, effort. I just want to get to a nicer yard. Then just go out there, fertilize, mow properly, water when you need to. And I have
bees! Bees! Bees in the car! Bees everywhere!
And I have this playlist that I'll link up in the corner. It'll be down in the description. That is just a cheap and easy lawn care program that you can go follow along. You can jump on that at any point, kill your weeds, and just fertilize and mow and you'll be good to go. Now the next one is the concept of overseeding. So that is going to take an existing yard that you're probably reasonably happy with, and you want to bring new seed in, either because you want to start to thread in newer, higher end varieties of grass, or you have large bare spots. So let's take a little walk. So back here down below me was all very bare. There was not a lot of grass through here, and especially over here. And we can get close over here and I'll talk about why overseeding is going to be important in some circumstances. Please excuse the rust disease that's back here. I've just treated for that today. But you can see this big patch here is going to take a long time, and only if you have a spreading grass type in your yard to fill in. So these are the types of areas that if you have, I would highly recommend you go and follow anyone's overseeding guide, poke some holes in here, get some seed down and water it into germinate to fill in your larger bare spots. Like if I could make a recommendation, I would say this area you would want to overseed, this area leave alone and let the grass fill that in. So why would you want to overseed? Well, like I had mentioned, you either have very large bare areas that you need seeded to get filled in, or you're trying to bring in a new cultivar into your yard. Newer, more disease resistant, better color, etc., etc. Some cautions I would give you against overseeding. For one, you're overseeding into an existing yard, and that yard is going to continue to grow. And seed takes a fair bit of time to germinate and grow in. Even if you're using ryegrass, you're probably 10 to 14 days away from your first mow, and that's a long time to be letting that existing grass grow up. Now, if you want to bring something like Kentucky bluegrass into your yard, where it could be 25, 30, 40 days until you get to the first mow, now you're having to cut your existing grass. It's not helping the newly seeded grass to germinate, develop, resist damage. Now it is more resilient than people give it credit for. You can absolutely mow your overseeded area and that seed will still germinate if you're watering properly. But those are a couple cautionary tales. For me personally, every Facebook group, every recommendation that you're going to get generically on forums, whatever, is if you don't like your yard, you dethatch it, you aerate it, and you overseed, and all your problems will be solved. And I don't really buy that. I feel like unless you have very specific desires or you want to bring in a new seed cultivar, I really don't think overseeding is a valuable exercise or a good use of your resources. I would just say manage the yard that you have, and I think you'll surprise yourself. And then the last kind of major way that you can revive or renew your yard is to do a complete renovation. So let's take a quick walk out front. I'm in various stages of renovation up here, to recently germinated, to fully established, post-renovation, to killed off but not yet seeded to seeded but not yet germinated back over there. So why would you look to do something like this? Why would you want to kill off your yard entirely? And I personally see there as really only being two reasons, and both of them come back to vanity. And the first reason is just truly vanity. You want to have something special. You know, you want to have the car that you show up to the party and you talk to everybody about because it's special. You want that specific type of rye, or that specific type of fescue, or that specific type of bluegrass, Bermuda, St. Augustine, and on and on and on. And that's exclusively vanity. At no point ever does anyone need to renovate their yard, kill it off completely, and bring it back from seed or sod to have a nice yard. That never, ever, ever has to happen. And the other reason, which is vanity again, is that you have kind of splotchiness. You either have a problem grass that looks very different from the rest of the grass that you want in your yard, and you just don't like the fact that there are different colors and different textures all throughout. You want a uniform, consistent look throughout the whole yard, which again is back to just vanity. There's no value in that beyond just being able to say that your yard just looks perfectly the same color all throughout. And let's not get it wrong here. I just recently did a video on the easiest way to renovate, but even that easiest way to renovate is a ton of work. So understand that although you will get the best result out of a renovation compared to some of the other strategies in terms of consistency of color and look of your yard, it is the most work by far. And you're really just doing it for that vanity purpose of yourself. You want to have the nicest, most uniform, pristine, perfect looking yard. So if I could summarize what I would recommend, I would say almost everyone is going to fall into a blend of what I would recommend, especially for beginners, of either just managing your existing yard, getting on a good fertilizer program and a good mowing regimen, and then overseeding where you need to overseed. And so again, we've talked about that, but just take care of it, get on a good fertilizer program, mow your yard when it needs to be cut, don't ever let it go more than a week, and you're really gonna find yourself surprised in terms of the progress and how good your yard looks over the course of a season or two. And then for your big bare areas, either come through with an aerator or just rake to scuff up the top of the soil, or use a scarifier, or whatever tool you have to just break up the surface of the soil. Throw a little bit of seed in that bare area, keep it wet until it germinates and establishes, and then you're back to just managing. Only those of you that really want to go above and beyond and put a whole bunch of work into having the perfect yard would I ever recommend renovating. So there we go. Hopefully that's helpful for all of you in terms of trying to cut through the clutter of how do I go about getting started and what do I need to do in order to put myself on the right path to having a nice yard. Let me know in the comments below what you've done. Have you had success just managing a yard and going from something that looks terrible to nice? What are your overseeding stories? How have those worked for you? Have you renovated parts of your yard, and in your opinion, was it worth your time and effort? We can have that kind of discussion in the comments. I'm happy to have it. And in terms of how to go about those processes, there is a lot of content out there on YouTube. There's some specifics on my channel with renovations. Like I said, I have the cheap and easy lawn care program if you just want to manage your yard. And there's all sorts of aerate and overseed videos out there right now, especially if we're in the fall. Everyone's going to be doing videos on that. So go check it out in terms of how I wanted to discuss and try to help you make the decision on what and why you were going to do it. So again, thank you so much for watching. Like the video if it was helpful. Subscribe to the channel if you want to follow along to what we're doing here in our lawn. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time. Is how you go about... Ah, man, what am I trying to say here? And I have both this playlist that I'll link up in the corner maybe, or you have large areas, or want to aerator in there, or just a rake, rough up the surface, little